We humans tend to tell stories. A lot of you told me stories yesterday. All day, stories. It's how we get to know each other. It's how we learn things. It's how we communicate. Fiction, nonfiction. We tell stories about the future. We tell stories about the past, history. We make up stories. It's how we function. Neil Gaiman tells us that fiction is the lie that tells the truth. It's how we communicate to each other those things which are most important to us. It's how we learn about other people. It's how we learn that we are similar to other people who don't look like us. It's how we learn that we are different from people who look just like us. It's how we learn compassion. We know from scientific study after scientific study that stories, fiction, the more we read fiction, the more compassionate we are. As we become a society that pulls back on our fiction, and this is not TV, this is not movies, this is reading and hearing. The less we read fiction, the less compassionate we are, the less we can put ourselves in the space of other people. Now imagine that you are in a culture where the dominant group puts out all the literature, and everyone, and you're not part of the dominant group, and everything you read is about someone who's not like you. Everything you read, everything you see is about someone who's not like you. You can say to yourself, okay, they're the dominant group, they're in charge. So they're the ones who are writing all the books, telling all the stories. It makes a bit of sense, I guess. There's more of them. They have more of their own books, more of their own stories. But now imagine that it goes a little bit further. It's not just that they are in charge and that your stories aren't being told. It's that your stories are being actively removed. You don't have access to your stories. Someone has told a story about someone like you, but you've never seen it because it has been removed. Officially removed. Unfortunately, this is not something that we are making up. This is what is happening. Now imagine that this is not only happening, but you are being forced to go someplace by law, and that institution is also being forced to remove your stories. You are being told you must attend this institution, and that institution must not represent you. By law. What is the message this is sending you? How does that feel to know that you are being forced into a situation, into an environment where you, by law, must not be represented? Your voice is not heard. You're not allowed to be seen. You're not allowed to be heard. You are voiceless. And you're a kid, and you think you're the only person like you. We're you use, so we tend to get in our heads and stay in our heads. So just for the moment, how does this feel to you? How does it feel to be in that position? Diminished, horrible, desperate, isolated, broken, torn, Frightened, lonely, shame. Okay, so I have seen pictures, as I'm sure you have, Nazis carrying armloads of Jew books out of libraries. This has happened before. We know where this goes. We are now carrying armloads of books out of school libraries, a place where children are told they must attend, and then their books are removed. And this is the essence of indoctrination. An author named Adichie, last name, has a talk called The Danger of the Single Story. And she grew up reading only stories available to her were stories of British children drinking ginger tea, blonde hair, blue eyes, wondering what was wrong with her. So she began to write stories. She's an author. She began to write stories, and all of her stories were about little boys and girls with blonde hair and blue eyes drinking ginger tea in the countryside. She knew nothing else. It was not proper to tell stories about people like her. She wondered how many people like her there were. Can't be many, or we'd have some stories out there. Her stories were not being told. She had no access to them. In the year 2021, slightly more than 1,000 books were banned in school libraries, school classrooms. In 2022, 2,571 books were removed from school libraries and classrooms across the United States. This year, 2023, we are on our way to well over 3,000 books being removed from classroom libraries and school libraries. 3,000. I have here in front of me the top 10. There's 12 because there are some ties. Let's look at what they are. This is from the American Library Association. See if you notice anything, any similarities here. Genderqueer, All Boys Aren't Blue, The Bluest Eye, Flamer, Looking for Alaska, top 5. Perks of Being a Wallflower, Lawn Boy, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, Out of Darkness, Crank, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, This Book is Gay. The top 7 of these books are all LGBTQ. The rest of them are, with 2 exceptions, about people of color, and 2 of them are intersectional. Who is it we are trying to make disappear? Who is it we are trying to remove? And of course, we don't want them to go away. We just want these people represented by these books to realize that this is not the way to be. You need to act straight. You need to be straight. You need to be white, or at least act like you're white. Being Indian is okay. I use the term used in here. Being an Indian is okay. As long as you know, you should aspire to be like the white person. So you don't need to know what it's like. What you need to know is what it's like to be a white person and to emulate this. Nothing else is necessary. This is indoctrination. People who want a wide range of information and free access to it, we are being told that we are indoctrinating. But increasing the amount of information, increasing the amount of choice, is the opposite of indoctrination. Decreasing the information available, decreasing choice, giving only the information that a government feels is necessary and useful, is the essence of indoctrination. We are now indoctrinating students in our schools. We have removed representation, we have removed information, and we are decreasing their ability not only to find out who they are, but their ability for students to find out who other students are. We read stories about other people so we know how much alike we are, even though they may appear different. And we no longer have access to that. We are reducing the compassion for other people so that the tactic of division and fear works even better than it has in the past. This is what happens when we believe there's only one right way to be. Someone mentioned shame. Imagine you don't have access to these books or the 2,500 other books like them, and you think you're the only person. I know why the cage birds sing. Maya Angelou said if she had a book like that, she would have known when she was abused she was not the only person and would not have lived half her life in shame. Better yet, she said, maybe I would have been armed with the information I needed to have not allowed it to happen. But she didn't know what to do, and she thought she was the only one. A young person cried with their father when they picked up this book because they finally found some representation. They didn't know the book existed. You can't look for something if you don't know what's there. You don't know what you don't know. And by removing these, you don't know. You can't even look for it. You don't know who you are. You don't know who to ask. And many of these kids cannot ask their parents either. So we have removed these books. We have removed their ability to discover. We removed their ability to ask questions. We can no longer talk about LGBTQ issues in school. They cannot be mentioned. We cannot discuss issues of race. We cannot discuss issues of sexuality. We can't discuss anything that flies in the face of what the evangelical Christians want us to believe is the American way. And religion and patriotism have come together, and we have been systematically removing representation for anyone who doesn't fit that mold. And it's not just by title. These books have been removed by title. But the Stop Woke law in Florida, Stop Wronging Our Kids and Employees, the Parental Rights Law, and several other laws that have been passed, often quietly, have removed access to content without ever banning a specific title. We cannot have a book that will make someone feel badly about the past actions of their race or gender. We cannot have a discussion of gender preference. A teacher cannot have a picture of their spouse if the spouse is the same gender. Everyone in the school must now go by the pronoun that is on their birth certificate, including teachers and staff. What is it we are trying to do? I cannot teach a 1619 project. I can't teach Vonnegut. Vonnegut is right out. I can't even teach science fiction. Books like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, gone. Slaughterhouse-Five, gone. To Kill a Mockingbird, that's iffy. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. All it takes is one parent to complain. How do you get a book banned in Florida? It's remarkably easy. You don't even need to fill out a form in most counties. There's a man in Duval County who's made it his mission to remove 3,500 books from the Duval County schools. The reason he gives: damages children's souls. The line that says effect hurts children. He has gotten over 100 books banned. That's all it takes. In Brevard County now, all you need to do is send an email. I don't know what your process is in this county, in Pinellas County, but I know that you have 10 books that are banned and 94 books under review. But review, challenge, they are removed while they are being challenged. The officials have taken the books away. There is no access to them. What do we call that in plain English? A ban. Censorship, that is a ban. They may call it a challenge, but that is a ban. And we hear things like, but they're still available in the bookstore. They're still available on Amazon. They're still available here. They're still available there. Let me tell you about where I teach. 140,000 people in the town in which I teach. How many bookstores are there? None. Yes, but there are some libraries, it is true. Mass transit? No, not really. A third of my students don't have internet access. And again, they don't know what they're looking for, so they can't go find it. Do we want our children searching for information on the internet that is not specifically verified, that is not age appropriate? Or do you want them working with a teacher who knows what they're doing? For the ones who do have internet access, a third of my kids don't. So where do they find out about who they are? How do they learn about other people? Well, they don't. And that is by design. They do not. They also do not learn critical thinking skills. I want to read something to you. I do have a few notes here. Let's see, go through these. I should just go to the last page. It's probably where it is. Not the very last page. There we go. But they're still available in the libraries. Actually, libraries are being attacked now as well. Moms for Liberty, very inaptly named group. It does confuse people. They think they're the proponents of liberty. Has been attacking libraries. They are now getting themselves on the library boards. One, Mom for Liberty, was asked what she's going to do now that she's on a library board, and her answer was, got some matches? So they're not available in the libraries. They have put forth legislation so that they cannot be sold without carding an individual in bookstores. So don't let anyone tell you that they are not working to get these completely removed. They are. It does not matter the books are available elsewhere. This is what I told someone when they said they're not banned. They're available other places. Outside the educational system, when a government or other institution reduces access to information and replaces it with only what it wants you to know, that is indoctrination. It reduces the ability to inquire. It reduces the ability to think for oneself. That a book may be available online or at a bookstore 10 miles away is irrelevant. The very removal is a message. It says, you do not belong here. You are not okay as you are. You must conform. At that point, education has ceased, and training and indoctrination has begun. As an educator, curriculum specialist, and Harvard professor of inquiry, Roger Gregoire wrote, "Inquiry is the primary function of cognition. Without inquiry, indoctrination replaces learning. Teaching is about raising questions more than delivering answers. If the practice does not raise questions, it fails everything else. By removing their information, we have reduced the questions children can ask. Their ability to inquire is being reduced. We have limited what they can speak about, what they can ask about. We've limited what a teacher can say. We are now only training students, and it is only getting worse. The gentleman in Duval County is well on his way to his 3,500 book goal. You have 104 books in this county that are banned. The latest is Negro League, a book for children about the Negro League. Because why should you know such a thing existed? Yes, I understand the bluest eye was just put back in last week. What message does it send to a student where you've got to fight to get this story back in front of them? What message does that send? Most of the books that are being banned in your county have to do with racial justice. Different counties attack, remove different things. But what they all have in common is there is one correct way to be, and you're going to learn to be that way. And if we have to remove your access to information to do it, that's what we're going to do. And that's what we have been fighting against for the last year. By going out and giving out these books to people who didn't even know what was going on. People who needed access. Access has been taken away. We have brought the books directly to them. Crank. One young lady picked this up, put it down, picked it up. Another young lady walked over, noticed the marks on her arm, handed it to her, and said, "This book saved my life." Top 10 banned book in the United States. This book right here, kid came back to our table 4 times, picked it up, somebody comes over, puts it down. Young black girl, picked it up, put it down. Every time somebody came over, picked it up, put it down. Finally picked up another book and left. Came back about a half hour later. This was at a Caribbean festival. I doubt seriously she could talk to her parents. She comes back with the book, whispers to me, "Can I change books? I need that one." And she just started crying. Of course you can, dear. Of course you can. This is people's lives we are affecting here. By removing these books, we are actively hurting children. We are damaging them by not allowing them to be who they are, far more than anyone has ever been hurt by reading the one paragraph rape scene in The Kite Runner. We are teaching children they are not okay. They cannot be who they are. They cannot be as they are. They must be somebody else. We are forcing them to lead lives which are, in the words of Rogers, incongruent with who they are. So we've been giving books away for over a year now. Well, just about a year. Over 3,200 books, $24,000 worth of books we've given away. We will continue doing this in one way or another. We are at the stage where we're going to be helping other people do this as well, because Lisa and I can only give away so many books where we are. And we have people asking us from all over the United States, how can I do this? Help us do this. So that is the next step for us, making sure other people all over the U.S. have the capability of getting the books to the kids who need them.